self-inflicted, but here comes Tim Cahill. Oh, what a response! A sensational volley from the pensionable Tim Cahill.
I chose my vodcast on Tim Cahill because soccer or football isn't my favourite sport, and I wanted to learn about it through a great Australian player. The book I read is an autobiography by Tim Cahill, Legacy, published by HarperCollins Publishers in Australia in 2015. Sports delivery systems are the avenues and agencies that provide the opportunities for people to participate in sport. This is regardless of the level of competition, from grassroots to relaxed social games into elite sports and everything in between. Sports delivery systems encompass the sport for all approach. Sports development is creating the pathways for athletes to progress. Sport equity is making sure there is opportunity for all, regardless of gender, age, ethnicity, and ability. It is this sport for all approach that takes athletes from mass participation to elite sport. This video is Tim Cahill's timeline. It will show his growth from a mass participant to a world-renowned athlete and all the different delivery systems that he has used through his career. Tim started his football career in the under-5s for the Balmain Police Tigers. He had been watching the game for years. His father was born and raised in Essex in England and is a passionate West Ham supporter. They watched the Premier League every chance they could, building his passion. Tim's second club was the Marrickville Red Devils, which holds a special place with him. It's where he scored his first ever header goal. To this day he remembers it well. During these years Tim played futsal or indoor soccer. The tighter spaces and quicker actions require a great amount of skill. This definitely helped his technical development and advancement. Tim's next club was Lakemba Soccer Club. This is where he started his representative career, being selected for the Canterbury district team. Almost every day, Tim was playing soccer, training with teams and without, playing indoor and outdoor, and he wouldn't have had it any other way. It was all he wanted to do. He was so motivated and self-disciplined, even as a young boy, that in his own words, football was a passion, becoming an obsession. Tim had private coaching with an Irishman named Johnny Doyle from the age of 7 up until he was 15. These sessions were one-on-one and small group sessions. He had a different style compared to his Australian coaches, very repetitive. Something he taught was that football wasn't just a physical game, it was just as much a mental game. This was a big focus of all the training and analysis. Being mentally tough was the key to being a successful athlete. The National Soccer League was the premier division of football in Australia, founded in 1977 and folded in 2004 to be replaced by the A-League. At age 11, Tim trialled and was successful in being selected in the under-12 Sydney Olympic development team. Sydney Olympic were a very successful National Soccer League team. They had development age groups from under-12 through to the National Soccer League squad. This team and the training had a huge impact on the development of Tim. At 14, in Samoa for family reasons, Tim and his brother Sean were called up to the Samoan under-20s team. In later years, this trip would come to be a big hurdle in being selected for Australia. But being in the national team squad, and one that had so much meaning for him and his heritage, his mother a Samoan, had a lasting effect on him through his professional and personal life. Apart from club sport, Tim also played school sport. He was selected in the public school's select team. Only one child per school was selected. After the carnival and so many matches, Tim was selected to play for New South Wales in the public school select team. A turning point in Tim's career was not being retained in the development squad of Sydney Olympic after years of being in the team. Players had to trial every year to continue in the program. The coaches said he was too small and not fast enough to be in the team. So his father took him to the Lidcombe Institute of Sport. Tim was assessed there by the coaches and was given a program to rework his body mechanics to build his strengths and speed. They changed the way he ran his new style much more like a sprinter's. His diet was also analysed and changed. Tim began playing for Belmore Hercules, 2 divisions below Sydney Olympic. 15 years old and playing in the under-18s, he was the youngest by far. Not long into the season, he was playing for the under-21s, and by the end of the year, he was playing in the firsts. To this day, no one younger has ever made that team. The next season, Tim was playing for Sydney United, a rival of Sydney Olympic. He played in the under-21s team, but he wouldn't finish this season. At 16, his mum and dad asked if he wanted to move to England to chase his dream. He would be moving away from his family, living with relatives he didn't know, and with no actual trial booked for him. But it was a question that didn't need to be asked. The answer was of course yes. At the trip in late 1997, still with no trial in sight, Tim kept fit by playing touch rugby with his cousins and using the strength and conditioning program designed for him by the Lidcombe Institute of Sport. 6 weeks after Tim arrived in England, he finally got the call and trialled with Millwall. After weeks of training and trial games, he was offered his first of many contracts. He was offered big team contracts but stayed with Millwall. He knew he needed to keep learning. He wasn't ready to be in the bigger teams and bigger leagues yet. At 17, he had to stay grounded. After a year of being in the youth system, Tim was called up to be on the bench for Millwall firsts. His first game at 18 years of age. Being a regular in the Millwall first team and learning his game in England paved the way for what would be to come in 2004. Millwall made the final of the FA Cup, a First Division team playing against Manchester United, a heavyweight of the Premier League. They would go on to lose, but this was a major achievement. Also that year, Tim would be called up for the Australian squad. Unfortunately, this is where playing for Samoa all those years ago made it difficult. Eligibility rules changed by FIFA for juniors who played for a different country paved the way for Tim to play in a friendly for Australia against South Africa. Tim stayed in the Australian squad for the Oceania Nations Cup and World Cup qualification tournament, scoring his first 2 goals for Australia against Haiti, going on to score 6 for the tournament, the most in the team. 2004 is also the year Tim signed with Everton, a Premier League team. After 241 games for Millwall, moving them from second to first division, it was time to test himself. At this same time he agreed to play for Australia in the Olympics as one of 3 overage players. Representing Australia could have cost him his contract, but national representation meant everything and still does now. Over his career, Tim has played in many different competitions, second and first divisions in the EPL, the FA Cup, Europa League, the World Cup and Asian Cup, to the USA in the Major League Soccer. He's played seasons in the Chinese Super League and is now playing in Australia in the A-League for Melbourne City. These competitions have many different formats, group stages then knockouts, round robin home and away seasons, and knockouts straight away in countries all around the world. Tim spoke about many different delivery systems that helped develop his career, from a junior footballer to Australian Socceroos' greatest goal scorer. School sport, club sport, futsal, individual, group and team training, private tutoring, development teams, institutes of sport, and even touch rugby. Moving to England and being part of their delivery system was such a huge factor. Each of these had a different but significant role to play in Tim's development I believe he thinks that he wouldn't have made it becoming a professional athlete without all of them. They all wanted the same outcome, to get the best out of everybody involved. But these mentioned are just the physical ones. From sponsors on uniforms to ground maintenance, media, government funding, different delivery systems work together for individual sports to get the maximum outcome for the sport, which in turn will give them maximum revenues and returns. Sport is business. It's an industry that expands and links with other industries, creating a cluster, all wanting the common goal. They all work separately, but with common output and common input. Without players and spectators, there is no industry.
You yourself as having gotten lucky, or do you think that this is what happens when you work hard?
Now, luck is a great word, but I wasn't lucky because I was driven enough to chase it. You know, if I want to be lucky, I'll go do the lotto.
I believe what has been emphasized in this book is that regardless of how many different delivery systems and opportunities you have, you won't be successful without hard work and perseverance. No professional is handed anything. All the training and injuries and setbacks, it would be easy to quit. There is also emphasis that not just being physically fit, but being mentally fit is equally as important. A healthy body includes a healthy mind. I have learnt more about the pathways of sport through the Sport for All approach in this assignment. How the mass participation sport is how everyone gets started, but there is no common path for each individual to follow to elite sport. That people's paths may be similar, but they will for the most part have a difference. That is why all different delivery systems, big and small, are so important. In conclusion, sports delivery systems are vital for athletes like Tim to become the athlete he is today. He used the vast range of different delivery systems, all being supported by delivery systems. Without all of these systems working together, we could miss out on the next generations of Australian Socceroos coming to play the world's game.